Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another new episode of Reconnecting with Former Classmates. I'm your host, Miguel Mike Medina. In this episode, I am very proud to have what it's one of my favorite classmates in high school. And although we met late senior year, but I'm so glad that we met and we still keep in touch to this day. And that is Miss Monik Torres. Monik, thank you for joining Reconnecting with Former Classmates podcast. How are you?
Hi, Miguel. I'm good, and the sentiment is reciprocated. I am very happy that we have kept in touch all these years. So I'm doing great. As you know, I'm back in George Washington campus as a high school teacher. So, you know,
What is interesting about that, I mean, you can never predict what the future will be like. So we met, like I said, senior year in high school. It was AP government slash AP economics. Um, we had Mr. Shenever as our teacher. And I don't recall ever seeing you my freshman, sophomore, or junior year. And then when I got to AP government, there were faces that I just never seen before.
mhm.
But I am so glad that you, among few other classmates in that class, I had the privilege of meeting. And not only did we have that class, but we also had lunch period, which was epic because it was you, me, Jasmine, and Samaric that we sat together in lunch period and we got to know each other more there. We got to
Yeah.
interact more there.
Mhm.
So, what are some of your favorite memories from high school or favorite memories of that senior year? Go ahead. Whatever comes to your mind, feel free to shoot.
Well, in terms of high school, I feel that those were my favorite years ever. Um, I f- I don't have a specific memory per se, but I do have to say that I appreciate all the relationships that I was able to develop in those years, and I actually found like that I was able to develop a lot of the skills that I now use in my career, which was great. But actually thinking about it, I would say that one of my favorite memories was in junior year, and it was when I became a freshman advisor or a freshman mentor, I would say. So back, in the early 2000s, the High School for Media and Communications had a mentorship program where they had upperclassmen come in for freshmen and give them like advice and like guide them through the high school life. And because of that experience, that's where I realized that I wanted to be a teacher specifically for teenagers. I feel that that was my calling, and that was the group that I wanted to work with. So I would say that's my favorite memory.
Nice, nice. Um, you've been a teacher for about 11 years, I should say,
Yes,
11.
it's my 11th year.
And
Mhm.
I remember like it was yesterday, Monique, when I saw that you posted, I think it was Instagram, your very first day, like your first day as a teacher, which it was middle school, if I'm not mistaken, the Bronx.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
I said to myself, wow, like we just finished graduating from college and it's a blessing that you were able to land a job after that.
Hmm.
Given that you have so many years of teaching experience, name me any teacher from high school that had a big impact on you now that you're a teacher that had a big impact on you.
Oh my God, it's actually a few, and I'm gonna try to keep it short. But for one, I would say Ms. Ramirez. She was my. I didn't have her as a teacher, but she was the person that was in charge of the freshman mentorship program, or at least in my group. And she, even till this day, like we're working together, funny enough. And she tells me that she saw the potential in me and she knew that I was called to be a teacher. So she had me take like the full reins of the class, and I was actually teaching the freshman class. For her, because of her, I noticed or I realized that this is exactly where I needed to be. So I'm forever grateful for that. And then I would say Mr. DeMarco and Ms. Brock, they were my favorite ELA teachers. And to be honest with you, Ms. Brock made me love reading. And that's where I realized, okay, I want to do ELA. But then when I had Mr. DeMarco, he was like a confirmation. He was like, I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. Like, I want to be an ELA high school teacher. And he was one of the reasons why I decided to take this route.
DeMarco is someone I never had as a teacher, although I wish I would have had him in high
Mhm.
school, but I'm forever grateful for him because not only did he teach English, but a lot of people not know this, but he also taught film history in especially senior year. And I
Yeah.
wish I was part of that class, but the blessing about that is that I have his email address, and the last time I spoke to him, which was this year, I believe it was last month or so, and it was just randomly I shoot him an email saying how's everything, etc. Because he knows a lot when it comes to film, and that's something he and him connect. So, and I gotta thank our classmate, my best friend Ken Rodriguez, for because without him, I don't think me and DeMarco we would have had that relationship, and that grew especially after high school when I used to go for a parent teacher conference. I would take advantage of those and to go and meet and talk with him. Miss Brucker is another one. She has been a blessing, such a phenomenal teacher, a cool individual as well.
Mhm.
And she's come a long way. I think she's a principal now or something like that.
Assistant principal, yes.
Yeah, she's come a long way. And funny is that you had her junior year, if I'm not mistaken, for AP English or
It was
no, English
honor.
honors.
Mhm.
And you went on to teach that, right? Or is that what you're currently?
So there's no honors now. There is AP. So I am teaching AP English Lang for 11th grade, and I'm also doing AP English Lit for 12th grade.
It was for the marker you had AP English, right?
Yes, DeMarco, senior year. Mhm.
Interesting how all of that came into full circle.
Yes.
Um, your person, just like me, is a person of faith. We believe in God. You know, we have that in connection, not only aside, from we went to high school and stuff like that, but we're both person of faith. Um, for how many years have you been in this spiritual journey that you and your family have been for how long?
So I converted when I was 15. It was the summer before my sophomore year, I believe. I'm trying to think, but yeah, I was 15. I was
Okay,
definitely 15. Yeah. Yeah, it was a summer before I started school. I think it was sophomore year. And I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead, but it was the best experience or the best decision I ever made in my life.
amazing, amazing stuff. And obviously you have a beautiful family, and you guys are continuing that. And I think I don't know if it was on your page or Anisha's page. You guys were doing some kind of singing a few weeks ago or something like that. I
Yeah,
saw that and I was like, wow, like that was very nice to see two sisters doing that. So how is she, by the way?
she's great. She's gonna have her second child. It's gonna be a girl. But yeah, it to be honest with you, if it wasn't because of our faith, we wouldn't have realized or at least noticed that we can actually sing. It was through church that we were able to use that talent. And in turn, we were able to also use it in school. I don't know if you remember when we had like honor society ceremonies that they would put me and Anisha to sing. I don't know if you ever remember that, but we did it maybe for 2 years, and it was great. I love it. Actually, that's another memory I would say.
Nice. I never knew about that, but thank you for sharing that. But that was amazing. When I saw that video, I said, man, God bless them. Hopefully, I have no doubt you guys will continue because there's nothing beautiful than seeing siblings, get along and have that. And I always saw that in you guys. Ever since I've known you and Anisha, I've always seen that. No, I mean, obviously, siblings, we're gonna go through once in a blue, some disagreements, some arguments, but the relationship that you guys have, I find it very beautiful, and I hope it continues to go that route. I mean, God bless you and your family. I love what I'm seeing from you guys. What's your favorite go-to breakfast meal, especially when you're on a rush?
Oh my God, Starbucks. I tend to get the chai latte with oat milk and cinnamon powder. And I usually get the egg bake that has like the potatoes and the chives and cheese. So that's my go-to.
Favorite snack craving?
Fruit snacks lately.
The last time I spoke with you, you had fruit snacks, so that's funny. Yeah, I remember. I remember. Yep.
Oh wow, that's so funny.
And it's funny because fruit snacks, when I was in not so much in high school, but in college, I always that was one of the things I used to get from the vending machine. In State College, I used to get that.
Oh,
That was
nice.
one of the snacks that I always used to get a lot. But
Mhm.
yeah, fruit snacks. That's funny. Name me three travel destinations that you want to explore with your family that you want to check it off your bucket list.
Ooh.
If you're a traveler person,
That I want to check off or that I've already checked off?
no, that you want to, that you would like to share with, that you would like to explore that with your family.
Well, I would love to go to Hawaii, definitely. The other destination, I would say um Thailand. I heard that it's beautiful out there and it's also cheap and affordable, especially for a family of four. And then the other one that I would say Italy. I've always wanted to go to Italy, especially when it's the place of pasta, and that's the thing that my family and I we love to have. So,
What subject, aside from English, what two subjects
mhm.
that you wish you would have the knowledge to teach in school?
um, I wouldn't say like just specifically the knowledge, but also the interest, I would say, because it's very important. I would say history. I would have loved to teach to be able to teach history, especially when I feel that kids need to know their history, and also I feel like it can connect with ELA as well. So history definitely is one subject, and then the other subject, which I actually enjoyed when I was a freshman, is Algebra 1. But I'm not a math person, but I loved it, and I would have liked to be able to have knowledge to teach that.
I want to throw you the final one, and I call this the money question.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not gonna say no top three or top five. It's just whoever comes into your head.
Mhm.
Who are some of your favorite classmates that you've met in high school?
Oh my God. Diana. Diana, we're still in touch. I consider her my best friend. I would also say you, for sure. I feel like you were the only boy, and I'm sorry, you can cut this off if anything. I feel like you were the only
No,
boy
no,
that
I'm
was
not gonna cut it off. Go ahead, go ahead.
you were the only guy in high school that was very respectful towards us girls, and I felt very comfortable with you. And to be honest with you, like not because it's your show, but it's something that I want to say, and is that because of you, I realized that it is possible to have relationships, well, not relationships, friendships between the opposite genders because you were respectful and your intentions, I feel, were pure. And then I would also say, who was my other favorite? Ronnie. Yeah, it's sad, but he was one of the few people who made me laugh a lot. And at times it's funny because he did make fun of me sometimes for my religion because I had recently converted and I was a totally different person before I met God. But his jokes didn't feel, how do you say, like harmful. His jokes didn't feel like his intention was to hurt. It was more like his intention was to make things funny. So he was another person that I would consider to be my favorite, one of my favorites. And then I'm just to top it off, I'm just gonna top it off with another girl, Christine. So we ended up going to college together, and we leaned on each other so much, because we started college right after the thing with Ronnie happened, and we were both emotional support for each other. I was more of a support for her, but I feel like we actually did connect a lot during that time. So.
It's been when it comes to Ronnie, it's been although me and him we were never close, but I remember when I got to high school, we immediately clicked because we went to middle school together.
Oh,
So
nice.
so in eighth grade, his homeroom teacher was my English teacher. So we will always cross paths in the hallways and stuff like that. So by the time we got to high school, because we had global together freshman year, and then funny enough, we had Spanish in sophomore year, and we were trying to get out of that class. Like we try to like talk to our counselor like to get out of that class, but it didn't work at first. But regardless, when we got to high school, we immediately clicked because we saw each other in middle school. And sometimes freshman year after our day is done, like we would meet along with other people. And then from there, he would go off to his house in 188 and I will continue going to
Okay.
my crib. So it's been 15 years since his passing, but I still feel it because
Mm-hmm.
that's particular day, not just because I knew him and stuff like that, but I
Mm-hmm.
always think about the family. I always think about when I went to his house the day that he passed away and how
Yes.
devastated his mom was. Seeing how devastated she was, it put me on a mindset that I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure my mom doesn't have to go through that. So that's the kind of person I am. When I always hear in the news or anywhere about a young person that has died in this fashion or that fashion, I don't just think about that person. I think about the family first. That's the first thing I think about.
Yes.
So, and that's the compassion side of me that I always think about the people that were connected to that person.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's been 15 years and
It still
and
hurts.
it was really crushing for us because we just finished graduating the day
Yep.
after. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's still fresh to me because of what I saw when I went to his house, and I know his even before all of that. I knew his cousin, um, Harold, and to this day, we still say hi, and the same thing with his mom. But but yeah, I'll leave it right there. Because yeah, it was really heartbreaking for us, but the blessing about it is that we got to know him. We got to
Yeah.
know us other classmates, and the
Mhm.
important thing is that that we're still here, that we keep each other
Yeah.
in memory. We remember the good things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would have been interesting to see how it would have been like had he would have gone to college and see where he would have been today. Um, but I mean, but hey, at least we have the good memories there.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, every year his name is honored, his memory is honored.
The scholarship.
Yeah, with the scholarship. Even though every year when they do bring up the scholarship, it was like very emotional for me. They did started doing it differently. They were doing it during like the senior night or like the ceremony, the award ceremony for seniors instead of on the graduation. Which I feel kind of like makes it a little bit easier, I would say, for us. Because we don't want to attach graduation to something tragic. And last year I was triggered a little bit because a student of our community actually died, and it took me back, and I was like, oh, not again. So it was really hard, but just like you said, it was a blessing getting to know him. He did make my high school years funny for sure. And I would never forget him, and I would never forget his family. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Thank you for sharing your words with me as well. And
mhm.
I do, it's funny how in the yearbook you wrote something similar to that. You basically, and I'm gonna paraphrase, in the yearbook you said that obviously, I'm talking about in terms of senior. You
Mhm.
basically said, knowing you this year made me realize that guys can truly be a girl's friend. And
Oh
you
my
basically and
God.
you basically said this particular part, which makes me laugh to this day when I go back reading the yearbook. You basically said, thank you for being my psychiatrist, LOL. So that part is funny,
Oh my God, I don't
but
even remember that.
yep, is there in the yearbook is there. So, because
Oh
once in a
wow.
blue, like when I feel nostalgic, I go back into the yearbook and I say, like, man, look how I used to look. I mean, it's funny the way we look back, 15 years.
Yeah.
later. But yes, like I said, Monique, and I always say this, that I'm not the easiest person to please, like, because I don't tolerate disrespect or sarcasm. But
Mm.
you're one of the very few people that I met in high school that I never had any problems. There was always a mutual respect, a mutual admiration. And it has grown from that even to this day, as now that we're adults, we went from teenagers to
Yeah.
now grown men and women. So it has truly, truly been a blessing to get to know you and your family, like your sister. And like I said, once again, God bless you and your family. And
Thank you.
keep doing what you're doing. It's very amazing to see where you're at today, and just continue to go forward. So thank you, Monik,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's definitely a blessing.
for sure. Well, as for the rest of you who will be watching this, if you guys enjoy this episode, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you want to. And it's been a joy and a blessing to create this podcast to reconnect with former classmates, not just high school, but elementary, middle school, high school, and college, and going on. So I'm looking forward to do many more episodes with former classmates. And I'll see you guys in the next episode here on Reconnecting with Former Classmates podcast.